In this video, I'm going to try ranking a broken blog #1 on Google as fast as possible, and I'm going to be documenting the entire process. See, this year alone, I've helped dozens of SaaS companies rank #1 on Google, but people still don't believe me when I say SEO doesn't have to take forever to work. They think you need to wait 6 months and post content daily to see results. However, I completely disagree. Now, I'm giving myself 24 hours to see if I can prove them wrong. But if we head over to bulk SMS software, this is where results get really interesting. We have moved up to number on a completely incognito search, and I'm showing you everything live. So by the end of this video, you'll know if you can rank #1 on Google without waiting 6 months, or if I just wasted my time for nothing. Now, I've mapped out everything that we're gonna need to pull this off. So we're gonna start by analyzing the blog post that's currently live on Google and review the data right now in Google Search Console. Then we're gonna score the existing content, looking at Surfer SEO. We're going to audit the word count, keywords, headings, everything. Then we're going to go through the content and delete underperforming sections based on the content gap we're going to build. Then we're going to rewrite and optimize the blog, looking at all of these different factors, and then we're going to request indexing and check results once it's re-indexed. Okay, so this is an article for one of our clients. They're an SMS software. The keyword we're targeting here is bulk SMS platforms or bulk SMS software. So we're obviously going to want to optimize for platforms, software, tool. But anyways, going through this, we are completely invisible to Google. This is something that we've had live for many months, and it's starting to deteriorate and actually lose clicks and lose impressions, as you can see here. So that means it's losing rankings overall and getting decreased on the search engine. So we want to revive it because right now it's completely invisible to Google. So if we were to search up bulk SMS platforms on Google, what we can see is that we're not even ranked in the top 10 on the first page, and we're also not ranked here on page 2. So we're absolutely invisible to anyone searching up this keyword, which means it's a really good opportunity because we have a lot of good content here and it has site history. So Google generally trusts that it's a more authoritative URL because it's been on the search engine for a while. It just needs higher quality content because the content is dated. So what we're going to do is copy the entire live article and throw it into Surfer SEO. So I have a Surfer SEO content piece pulled up here, and it's for the keyword bulk SMS platforms. So right off the bat, we score a 72 out of 100. So we're not starting at a 40 or 50. We're starting at a 72, which isn't bad, but we want to get to an 85 to a 95 plus. Now, we're not going to use any of Surfer's tools like auto optimize or inserting internal links. You can kind of test these. We have our team test these out a little bit, but overall it's better to just do a manual process in editing. So looking at the top score, we're competing against a 64 and an average of 52, which means if we get to an 85 to 95 plus, we have a really good chance of ranking in the top result on Google. Then also scrolling through here, we don't have any call to actions. It looks like we have a good amount of internal links, but I'm sure we can add a few more. We have, it looks like, one call to action right here. We don't really have any images on this. And we could also go a little bit more in depth into features, and it looks like things are a little bit bulky. So it's not as much spread out. It looks like there's just bulks of paragraphs, which isn't the best. So we have a lot to optimize. It's a little bit short on the word count because it looks like all of our competitors are starting to build longer articles on this given keyword. So overall, there's conversion opportunities here. There's keyword opportunities. There's internal linking opportunities. There's a ton of opportunities like structure, for example, for images. Looks like we're missing out of the top keywords around half of the necessary keywords that we need to include based on Surfer's aggregation. So now it's time to optimize this. We're going to start by looking at the top results. We're going to click on a few of them. So we'll choose the top ones that are a blog and not a service page. So for example, these two are home pages. This one looks like a blog. This is a blog, and this is a blog. So we'll start with these and kind of identify what they're talking about and then what we might not be talking about. So it looks like scrolling through OmniSend, we're talking about what are the benefits, how do you send bulk SMS messages, so how do you send it, what are the benefits, and then what is the best bulk SMS software. That gives a general idea. We might come back to this later. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. So we're talking about what makes the best SMS app, the best SMS apps at a glance looks like. Then it just goes right into the listicle, so not much extra, but let's see what else they talk about after. So it looks like that is it. They're just giving the listicle. Let's move on to Twilio. It looks like a service page, so we can actually kind of ignore this. If we can't find much else anywhere, then we can come back to this, but we'll move on to the last one. So this is Notifier. So they go through what it is, and then they go through how to choose one, and then the top 5 options and all of their features. And that is it. So we should definitely outrank this one because this one looks to be very short very bulky, so not very SEO optimized. Definitely should outrank this. What it looks like is we need to talk about what it is and what are the benefits mainly. So we're going to go back into our article and see if we're including all of that. So it looks like we are including benefits, but we might want to rephrase this or restructure this section, because in the other ones, it's more so talking about what makes a software better. So we're going to restructure this title most likely. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that. And they're probably going to edit a lot of this in a little bit more of a deeper content gap. Going through the rest of the article, looks like we just have the listicle after the benefits. And then we talk about what makes Texcellent stand out. And then that is it. So we might be coming up flat on an informative perspective. So we may want to add another section, maybe something around compliance. Since these are kind of use case listicles, meaning they're talking about the best, SMS or bulk service software for very specific use cases, we can make our article a little bit more informative, such as going through typically compliance is good, the laws around it are good, best practices are good. So we'll choose one of those to add to our piece of content, as well as probably restructuring some of these sections that we already have. So what makes Texcellent stand out? We might want to rephrase that to be a little bit more informative, or rather like use case driven. So now that we kind of have a general idea of what we're missing out on, we're just going to go through the entire thing and refine it, add more keywords, add more internal links, and restructure sections. So let's go ahead and clean up our tabs here and close out of all of these. Then we can close out of the original document. And the very last thing I want to look at is going to be in Search Console. So if we were to go over to the last 7 days and then go under queries, we can sort by impressions and then look at the top keywords that we might not be including in our content, but we are ranking for. So bulk SMS software, provider, service, SMS platform by itself. We want to make sure that out of all of the keywords, we are actually including those within the content. So in this case, we only have bulk SMS software, for example, once. But this is our top keyword that we're getting the most impressions on over the last 7 days. So we want to capitalize on that, right? If we look in the content itself, we are also not including provider. That's our second top keyword. So these are some things that we just want to really easily fix up. Now, if you've ever ranked #1 on Google before, I'd be careful repeating something like this, because trying to rank on Google this fast requires some experience. And if you try to do it without having a proven system in place, you can actually end up hurting your rankings instead of helping them. So if you want a team of experts to help you, you can book a call below. We've helped dozens of SaaS companies rank #1 on Google and all AI search engines, and we'll see if we can help you do the same. So starting at the top, one of the best things we can do for editorials is restructure the intro section. So we can keep it fresh, keep it light on its feet, and also use it to internal link to other places, because we obviously don't have any internal links in this one. So right now we're talking about mass texting is a powerful way to reach your audience, but it comes with its challenges. Sending generic messages at the wrong time can feel impersonal or even invasive. So we can make this a little bit more informative, a little less of an emotional tonality, because clearly the other articles are being extremely informative and we're being a little bit more emotional. So we might write something like, customers read texts immediately, which makes texting for business marketing one of the most reliable communication platforms. And then we probably put a period and then dive into maybe some pain points. So, but when your audience grows, that's where the challenge comes in. So obviously I could probably be a little bit better with copywriting here, but right now we're kind of being a little bit more informative and a little bit more agitative. So we're agitating, hey, when your audience grows, there's a challenge that comes in, and that's where you need bulk SMS platforms. We can probably delete this first section, and then you can pretty much just do that for the rest of this. Just change the tonality, change what you're talking about. You can talk a little bit, in this case, a little bit more informative. We also want to slightly increase the word count and include all of these keywords down here. So we probably want to include text messages, right? In this case, we could talk about, sending text messages to customers, and then we could continue on that sentence. And now we just included another keyword right here. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this, and then I'll kind of showcase the way I did it. So just finished up. Our first section up here is talking about businesses finding it frustrating to get a perfect balance between engaging and being respectful. We're also talking about bulk SMS platforms and how they offer a simple and powerful way to share promotions, reminders, but clearly those aren't the driving factors that the searchers are looking for. So it's not matching the search intent. So we're going to go ahead and delete this entire first section, and we just have it rewritten right here. We're going through, this is very similar to the first sentence I wrote. So we'll look at the second one. Sending and tracking messages manually can turn into a disorganized process that wastes time and risks compliance issues. Without a structured system, it becomes difficult to maintain consistent communication or measure what's working. So what we're doing here is talking more about the benefits of bulk SMS and less about just random kind of pain points that the audience might be feeling. Then we talk about bulk SMS software, and then very specifically large volumes of text, managing replies, personalizing content, and automating campaigns, things that are matching the pain points of bulk SMS and being more relevant to the buying intent like we see in the other articles versus just talking about random things we want to talk about. The next thing I'll showcase, because all of this is pretty much repetitive throughout the entire article, you're just going to repeat this process throughout it all. So I'm going to showcase one more thing, which is going to be restructuring this header. So right now it is the benefits of using bulk SMS platforms. The way we're going to restructure this is have a mix of the things we found in the content gap. So the two main things we found in the content gap was benefits, which we already have here, but then how to actually analyze or how to look at a bulk SMS platform and what features to look for. So to combine those two things, we might write something like, what makes bulk SMS platforms beneficial for whatever niche you want to target. So B2B or for businesses, right? Or we might even do just beneficial. Now we're talking about what makes bulk SMS platforms beneficial, and then we're also looking at the benefits, right? So it's a mix of both worlds. This might seem small, but these are huge changes. It also changes the keyword we're targeting, and this is, our main H2, our first H2, which is very important. Then the process we did up here, just looking at all of these keywords and refining the text, we do throughout the rest of the content. We can unhighlight this to default, and then we're just going to quickly scroll down after the listicle, because we don't want to include too much info before the listicle. That's the main buying intent, main search intent. So people want to see that as soon as possible. We're going to add a section about compliance. So we'll do that after the call to action here, which we also want to add images for. And we're going to do that before the FAQs section. So we'll write a section like bulk SMS regulations and compliance, you need to know about. Then we'll make this a heading 2, and this looks a little bit long, so we'll just take out the about. Bulk SMS regulations and compliance you need to know. And then basically this is when we go and do research on bulk SMS regulations and compliance. We could literally search up the keyword like this and go through and do all of our research that we need to do. Try to go to like organizations, less of like B2B marketing kind of companies. And this is really good for AI citations. This is really good for backlinks. When you include informative content that can be backed by sources, that can be backed by articles or white papers, or just pages in general that are kind of like scholarly or sourced from a very good database, then if you put that in your content, AI search engine crawlers, Google's AI crawlers are going to be able to put you at a higher authoritative level and see that, hey, this site is actually sourcing really good quality content and really informative and authoritative content. Therefore, we're going to boost them up in the rankings. So upon doing research, we found out about the TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and we're going to include that as the starter. And then we're probably going to put some sort of source right here, right? And AI will really like that because of the EEAT, which has to do with being authoritative and being the main dominant voice on a topic. Google will trust your site more and they will rank you higher, as well as AI search engines citing you more. So basically you just continue to write the rest of this just like you do a normal piece of content, and then make sure to include the new tonality, which is more informative and more about bulk SMS marketing and not just general content or pain points. The last thing we're going to do is go through and refine call to action. So we're going to add a few more call to actions, because in this one there's really only one or two. So the one we have here is you can save 15% if you choose annual billing, sign up for a free trial, or request a demo consultation. We can go ahead and copy this, add it somewhere else in the content. So in this example, we can do it right after the compliance section. So once we write the rest of this content for the compliance section, we might add a CTA like this instead. Actually, I know I said to copy the other one, but we might copy this, say, see how excellent can help your business. We're gonna make it super relevant to bulk SMS marketing. So we'll say, see how TextLint can simplify your bulk SMS marketing. Sign up for a free trial, request a demo consultation. So it looks a little bit close to this call to action, but it won't be once we add in all of the information for the bulk SMS regulations and compliance section. I'm going to completely rewrite this piece of content and actually republish it live on the search engine. So we're gonna jump ahead to that because it will take a couple of hours. Okay, so now that the blog post is rewritten, I'll just quickly run you guys through it. So we added images to all of this, obviously sourcing our images, and then we refreshed a lot of it that we talked about, such as the intro, the headers that we needed to readjust, and then expanded the regulations and compliance section and added tons more keywords that we needed to include, increased the word count just a little bit, and I also adjusted the sites it's pulling from the top results just a little bit, but that's more of a surfer SEO adjustment. So now that the blog post is rewritten, we just need to re-index it to see results as fast as possible. So I actually published this live already. As you can see, today's November 13th, and we have the post. It's completely live on the site, the brand new version of it. We're just going to copy the URL, head over to Google Search Console, and throw it in the Inspect URL tab like this, and hit enter, and it's going to say that URL is on Google. We know it's on Google, and that's why we're refreshing it and re-indexing it. So we're just going to hit request indexing here and wait until this load screen, and boom, we see that indexing has been requested. So usually this takes a few hours at the minimum to process. We typically like to give it around 24 hours, but we've seen it happen within an hour, and we'll just check back on this and see the results that we have with our new rankings on our newly indexed content. All right, so it's been 24 hours since I rewrote everything and republished and re-indexed it. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if we'd actually see results this fast. So let me show you what happened. So we'll go ahead and pull up a incognito window so we don't have any of our data overlapping with our keyword. The main keywords we're looking to target is bulk SMS platforms, and then bulk SMS software, and we'll do one more, bulk SMS tools. So the main keyword we targeted was bulk SMS platforms. It looks like we're not yet on page 1 of Google for bulk SMS platforms, but if we head over to bulk SMS software, this is where results get really interesting. We have moved up to number 4 right here on a completely incognito search, and we're now ranking right here for a really nice keyword. So I'll show you some data behind the keyword in a second, but we can click on this. We can see that it is the live version published yesterday, November 13th. This is actually less than 24 hours later too, which makes it even better. And then bulk SMS tools, we are also not quite yet on page 1 there, but bulk SMS software is the main keyword. So if we look at the data behind the keywords here in Ahrefs, what we can see is that bulk SMS software has the most search volume, 350 search volume. It has a lower cost per click, but bulk SMS platforms is 80, bulk SMS tools is 20, and it's actually pretty tough keyword difficulty as well, so it's 62. All 3 of these are commercial buying intents, and we rank number 4 or number 3 on some searches for the top keyword bulk SMS software. So that is a huge win. Now coming in Google Search Console, it's tough to see the data because we don't have the data yet for the last 24 hours because it hasn't even been a full 24 hours. And Google Search Console is typically 24 to 36 hours behind on all of their data. So as you can see, this was last updated 10 hours ago, which is pretty much midnight because right now it is 10 a.m. And we republished this in the afternoon yesterday and indexed it, which means it probably took a few hours to index. So we don't have really much data yet, but we can see the ranking increased a ton. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this and see how results play out. Now, as you can see, it doesn't take months to rank higher on Google. All you need is a process in place proven to work. However, ranking blogs is different than an entire SEO system. So if you want to see the entire system I use to rank clients number 1 on AI search engines, you can watch the video here and I'll see you there.